Start with a hadith relating to three main points: that I'm satisfied with Allah as Lord, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his messenger, and al-Islam Medina. Being satisfied with those cardinal principles and beliefs leads to an unbelievable level of gratitude, that is thankfulness, hidayah or guidance, and thankfulness to Allah for His rahmah, His mercy, and His kindness. I'll start by reading from one of our favorite ayats. It just, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Kala la tatraba alaykum al-yawma yaghfirullahu lakum wa huwa arhamul rahimin. He said, it is Kala or Kul, Kul hu Allahu ahad. Can you imagine the way it's written? It says, say, He, Allah, is a... So technically, that is Allah, because he didn't ask Allah, what should I say to the people? It's on a certain time. And Allah is saying, say. That's why it's written like that. Say, Kul hu Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. There's several. So in this one, it's this, he said. But this, of course, is Yusuf speaking after a heartbreaking historical account of events that would destroy the average human being. He said, this day let no reproach be cast on you. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of those who show mercy. Yaghfirullahu lakum, Allah, ghafir, Allah will show mercy, forgiveness for you. Wa huwa arham. Arham is the womb of the lady, but the word radicals or letters is rahama, which follows in two cases. Arhamul rahimin. That Allah is most merciful to those who show mercy. This is a lot of key stuff kicking off here. Allah is merciful to those who show mercy. Yusuf had been through a lot of changes with, let's call them family members. And really the whole society, because the women had lied on him, you know what I mean? And the poor Aziz, he didn't know what to do. He said, well, let him go to the penitentiary for a while. Although his shirt is torn from the back instead of from the front, because it's evidence. See, the Bible don't clear that up, that his shirt is torn from the back. It don't clear that up. But in the Quran, it's clearing it up. Like, no, he ain't guilty of nothing, because he was exiting the situation. But after all of these historical and psychological and familial problems, and the world is in such a state, the world is in a state like it is now. The world then was getting ready to go through serious changes. And only Yusuf alayhi salam, he had an idea because he's the one that let the king know, hey, here's all you got to do. You're going to have 7 good years, you're going to have 7 bad years. So during those 7 years, you keep saving and saving and saving, and you're going to be all right. So the king said, hey, man, in answer to Joseph's question, put me over the storehouses because I know their value. He's telling the king at that time, not Pharaoh. I understand what's going on here. So let me be the manager of all of this. I don't want to be the king of stuff like that. But I want to be in charge of all of this because this is historical, this is religious, and this is a reality that I got a gift to do something about. So the king said, knock yourself out, because I don't know nothing about 7 fat cows swallowing up no skinny cows or 7 skinny cows swallowing up the fat. I ain't got no game or information on that. Right? But anyway, let's go on. La tatraba means there's no reproach. There's no blame. This is what he's saying to his brothers. They caused all of this stuff to happen. But remember, the qadr of Allah is already written. Now, technically, what they did was sinful, but that was already written, that they was going to do that. They was going to sell their brother into slavery. They're participating in prophethood because they're the ones that's putting them in a position to go through all of those changes. The whole environment is participating in it. See, the environment, just one thing don't make us what we are. The whole environment is participating. So Allah got you a destiny, and He got everybody else a destiny, and everybody within the sound of that person's voice, I'm just saying, is participating. The environment, the weather, everything is participating in your destiny. That's why Joseph says to his brother, La tatraba. They say, oh man, they beating themselves, we done blew it, we messed up. He said, La tatraba. No reproach. Don't worry about it. He said, this day let no reproach be cast on you. Allah will forgive you, and He is most merciful to those who. Allah is going to forgive you, and not only that, I have to participate in this because the ayat says Allah is merciful to those who show mercy. Therefore, I'm going to get my issue by doing what? Overlooking whatever it is you think you did. Don't make no difference. I'm looking over that. Why? Because someone greater than all of us is looking over every dumb thing I've ever done in my life to get us here to do this job. So he said, this day let no reproach be cast on you. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of those who show mercy. There's just, we have one of our favorite series of ayats where Moses is asking, oh Allah, expand my breast and give me a helper with Harun, because Moses stuttered, and you can imagine he going up to the people and saying, half an hour later, got to get his fair, and then he goes on to take him another half hour. Then he say, you got to let the people go. Everybody be laughing, of course. So he asks Allah, take the impediment out of my speech so that people can understand me and add strength to me with my brother so we can both celebrate your praises together. And he's asking certain favors. So that Allah says right in here, and indeed we conferred a favor on you another time before. Now, I'm going to skip to past the sister, and it gets to the point where it says, and I have prepared for thee for my service. Go thou and thy brother with my signs, and slacken not either of you in keeping me in remembrance. So Allah is telling Moses, hey man, I've been had you covered all along. And that's what I'm going to go over a few things where it shows that even in certain positions you would never think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got you covered. When I was in California, this was about 1970-ish. So I was, of course, one of the biggest, no, I was the biggest marijuana dealer and de vez en cuando kind of little cocaine from time to time. Not kind of little, but enough to get by. So anyway, we was on our way to L.A., me and my partner, my best friend, who was second in command of our organization. Now, we wasn't no small crew. We was actually what they used to call in those days big niggas. That mean that we was what they call doing it. So instead of going straight on 5, when you leave Oakland, you go on I-5, you catch I-5, 585. And then at that time, they had not finished. There was a section of Interstate 5. I'll let you know this was a while ago. Just like I-95 has been completed a long time ago. Well, 5 has been completed a long time ago. And the highway system go like this. North and south, it goes 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95. That's the way the highway system goes, north and south. East and west, it goes 10, 20, 40, 70, 90, 94. In other words, the even numbers is going east and west, the odd numbers is going north and south. Once you get it in your mind, you can go anywhere you want without even looking on the map. But anyway, so going to L.A. at that time, they was working on 95. So after every now and then, they would cut you off that 5 that was just being built and send you over to the old highway, 99. 99 would be like Route 1 is now. So if you was going on 95 and you had something busy going on, they'd block off 95 and send you over to Route 1, which is the old 95. Route 1 starts in Canada and it goes right through everything, New York, down in Dixie, all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, Route 1, just like 95 do. So anyway, I don't want to get into the highway systems, but so when they would cut us off at 5, we'd have to catch 152 and go over through a little town called Los Baños. In those days, black people lived in the cities in California only. And when you got outside of the city, it was just like Dixie. It was just like, so here we are, sharpest Negroes in the world, driving big Cadillacs with mink all on and everything, going through a little country town. So we stop and get gas. Of course, I got a pistol under the Mac rest, and we're it's so much. I'm snorting so much cocaine that you could see it. You know, the nigga got it all over. It's just everywhere. So the white boy at the gas station, he called the police. When we got back in the car and drove, just as we was getting into town, old time posse. I don't know if you've seen the posses that they used to have. These guys looked like a posse. They swooped out on us. Everything that cowboys had, they cowboy boots, them old 30-30 Winchesters, you know, them kind go click, click like this. They had all of that, all the paraphernalia. So the white boy, he looked under the Mac rest, the armrest, and he saw a pistol, and he was thinking like any white boy, the only way these niggas get this much money, this nigga is driving a brand new Cadillac. Nobody has these except one or two rich white folks. And the niggas has got them wrong. Something they robbed a bank, they stole something. So anyway, so the white boy called the police in the gas station, and we was just driving through town. And they pulled us over. And they was dumb white folks too. I mean, because the police, I thought, with cowboy boots on, I said, I want to see a judge. He said, I'm the judge. I said, well, me and my homeboy looked at each other and said, we gonna lose this time. Because technically, this is one of the first cases we ever got where we're actually in the wrong. I mean, anybody driving down the street with snowflakes all over their face and all on their suit, you know what I mean, and everything. And the police looked at my arms. You know, I was a weightlifter, and he saw these are stretch marks. He said, yep. He thought they was tracks, you know, from shooting. These are stretch marks. These are health stretch marks. You know, you lift iron so much, you get so big so fast. It's like a woman get pregnant. She usually gets some stretch marks on her stomach. What niggas, much iron as we was driving in those days, we'd get stretch marks. So he looked at my arms, and we looked at him, me and our friend looked at each other. I said, these white folks are so dumb. Then, this is the Merced County Jail. And then we going into the county jail, and we hear a voice, hey man, how y'all, what's going on? It was a guy called Bug Simpson. We hadn't seen him in years. And that's where he was, stuck, you know, where you can holler from one place to the other. Man, how long you been here? He'd been in the county jail in this little town out of the big city and he was there so long we had almost forgot about him. And then me and my partner looked at each other again. We said, boy, look at here. We in deep SHIT now, I'm telling you. Because this is not a setup. This is actually, in court, you'd have a hard time beating it. Because of the white boy and the guy. Anyway, long story. But guess what? So we called our lawyer. The lawyer came down. He was driving the Cadillac too. I called my family. My wife came down with my kids. She was driving a big, pretty Cadillac too. So you could imagine how mad these white folks. This is a country town in California. Everybody here, they drive Fords if they're lucky. You know what I mean? They're dirt farmers and everything. I mean, it's just like Dixie used to be down there. You got to drive through that part of California. It's not modern, up-to-date California like now. That was Dixie, California. Anyway, just how Allah works it. So the lawyer come down and he said, after he checked on everything, and we went to court. Before the lawyer got there, they had guns on her. I said, man, you pointing guns at my family, you handcuffed and can't do nothing. What's wrong with y'all, you know? Well, they figure these is niggas, and they all got Cadillacs, so something's wrong with them. Anyway, they charged us with heroin possession and marijuana possession. Now, I was a big smoke dealer, but I had bought a couple of bricks from some white boys the week before. And I said to myself, this don't even look like no weed. But they had been good suppliers, so I just took them. And then when you driving, got all kind of stuff going on and blow and going on, well, who knows the different tastes of marijuana? So you didn't roll it up. It so happens, this goes back to, I've been looking out for you all along, you know. So now, it turns out that the white boys had just must have found some bushes and pulled them off. They looked like marijuana. And they pressed them in a brick, you know, like they sold weed in those days. And they said, because the white boy was looking at the other one when he sold it to me, and he said, I told you. So he was saying, this nigga don't know. This is the biggest weed dealer in California almost, but he don't know nothing about no marijuana. And I was probably high and everything. I just looked at it, I bet you want some of it. So I bought it. It just so happens that it was not marijuana. And the dumb white folks, they could have did another thing. They tested the cocaine for heroin. Got this. It was cocaine. They didn't charge me with heroin and marijuana. My lawyer said, well, what did y'all have? Because they had to let us go scot-free. From then on, I got the Holy Ghost almost. I'm telling you, the marijuana was not marijuana. So they tested the bushes the white boy gave me. Suppose I would have told the white boy, man, that ain't no smoke. I got enough sense to know, and I knew it wasn't no smoke. Well, who cares? For some reason, I took it. So when they tested the marijuana, it comes out not marijuana. And they tested the cocaine for heroin. Whole different test, right? So these dummies, this is the country, they don't know the difference in those days from, all they know is I got tracked, so it must be heroin, stretch marks. So my lawyer asked, well, what did y'all have, bunk or something? Well, the marijuana was bunk, but the cocaine was the best blow in California. And that's against the law too, 11,500. But I'm getting to this point. Didn't I look out for you all along? You know, didn't I have you covered? This didn't just start. I've been looking out for you all along the way. Now, here you are in my service. That's why we feel so fired up about Islam. We call it full plate ahead. Whatever's on our plate, you know, full speed. Full plate ahead. We're ready to go. There's another thing that we've been dealing with for a long time. Archivists, historian, chroniclers, and documentalists. Although, have you seen any of those Chinese programs on?
Yeah, I think I caught one of them. Not all of them.
But did you get the one on the great historian? Right. That, no. That was a good one. That was a good one. All of that verifies what we've been dealing with all along. How important, but go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, who was talking about archivism, historicizing? That somebody has to historicize and chronicleize, right, and document all the things that's been going on amongst us. And when you watch those programs, some of them from China, maybe a couple of thousand years ago, you can realize the value of keeping a record of certain periods of time. We have so well documented this period, it's been overwhelming. Written documentation and redundancy. If we give out every 10th or 15th CD, it makes no difference because somebody will have a whole package of information, right, about the stage we're in, about the period about what we've been dealing with. So we realized a long time ago, Boss Man was trying to figure out, we might be thinking we got to lead our movement and we got to do this, and you're looking at it a different way. Somebody has to archive this stuff. Our movement at this time is this: archivism, historicizing, being a chronicler, documenting all of this stuff. Why do you think we document? They can't do anything about it. Even if we duplicate 10 of each of these right here, and we distribute 8 or 10 of them, and there's only 1 or 2 left from the people, it's fine. You done left a record. Of course, we do more. If we take all the CDs and DVDs we've distributed over the years, and you can go along and you can collect 10 of them from this person, although we've distributed hundreds. A few over there, a few from there. And then remember, Boss Man don't know. He know who he got with you, and he know who you giving a lot of them to, but he don't know everybody. Right? He don't know everybody, and everybody is not the police. Maybe 80, 90% is, but everybody ain't the police. Some of them will realize what they got their hands on. In other words, we've thought about what we're doing. Archivists, historicizing, chronicle documentalists. So we're functionalizers in this Islamic movement. Activators. Boss Man was thinking that we would think our job at this time would be to collect a group of people together to raise the great Islamic movement and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. As usual, Boss Man in those days and Boss Man now is the same. Boss Man a few years ago was stupid. And you can see his stupidity. Not only you and I see it, the world is making, Boss Man is making decisions and doing stuff that have people, what is he doing? And we saying, well, we making him do it because we said years ago, before this was apparent to everybody, we claiming some of the credit. That we're going to say, Boss Man, we made a fool out of you, and it's the reason you acting a fool, we know it's not, but it don't make no difference. That's selling wolf tickets. Boss Man, we slapping you upside the head with truth so much that you getting delirious, incoherent. We use words like discombobulating. We're going to discombobulate yourself. Okay, now boss man don't know the difference between, since he don't believe in Allah, and all he hear talking his trash is us. He don't believe in no supreme being. That nigga is doing it. That's what he thinks. Yes, you do. It's okay. It's okay. That's why we open up, we let you know we praising Allah on and on and on, and we ain't never going to open up at this period. When we talking this kind of trash, we're going to make sure everybody understand that we know who got us here. And that it's Allah, all the stuff that you do, it seemed like miraculous, Allah hooked you up. And if you wanted your behind to be rescued, it was Allah rescued you in 1970. It was Allah rescued you in times when you didn't think it was. Maybe it was in prison riots and stuff like that, when you're supposed to go home next month and you got to stay another year. And during that next year, you get a whole bunch of information that you would have never had before. And that the white man might have thought, we're going to mislead this Negro by sending some of our snitches to get him involved in selling dope. And it's true, they do. The only thing is, you become successful. And in becoming successful, you do exactly the same thing Martin Luther King was trying to do, but he couldn't do it. A black economic enterprise zone. That's what he was in Chicago for in 1968. Well, the same year, we was doing the same thing in Oakland, California. The Black Panthers was shooting up everything, or they getting shot up, and we was raising the economic level of all the black people in the city. And everybody knew it. Then boss man looked, he said, something don't smell right here. We tried to mislead the guy, which we did. And he went right around the corner and came right back through the door he was going through all the time, the black nationalist door. Except nobody expected it, because once you get rich, you get arrogant and you get better than them. Them niggas is dumb, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. Instead of that, you say, hey, I'm rich. Why shouldn't, if I have Cadillacs, why shouldn't all other Negroes have Cadillacs? They don't expect you to do that. So all of a sudden, everybody got Cadillacs. And you're buying this guy a Cadillac, everybody. And they don't expect it. So they stump their toe. Thank God. What does that mean? That when Allah got a mission for you, it don't make no difference what you deal with. Allah got you covered. So, how would you relate to other people? You would relate to other people the same way that Allah relate to you. That Allah is Arhamul Rahimin. He is the great forgiver and the one that forgives over and over and over again. So, that's our position. That's our position then. And let me see, we're going to read a little something, which we've been reading all along. O my Lord, thou hast indeed bestowed on me some power and taught me something of the interpretation of dreams and events. O thou creator of the heavens and the earth, thou art my protector in this world and the hereafter. Take thou my soul at death as one submitting to thy will, as a Muslim, and unite me with the righteous. That might be one of our, in fact, it's one of our favorite ayats, and it's a great reminder to us. Because just like if Allah is guiding you, the shaitan has a crew that's coming with all of the world's fancies to misguide you. Yeah. And you got to be blessed not to be misguided. Okay. So that's why we feel blessed right now. Because boss man ain't putting no spell on us. We putting a spell on him. And the Zionists, these people have been messing with the Islamic movement ever since the beginning. But they anticipated what stages the Muslims would go through. So in 1978, they had the Muslims develop what they call the Federation. You know, a federation, a group of some had been with Imam Muhammad. And one of the main ones up in New York, he had left the chief, and he was the one putting together this proposition of the federation, because the system anticipates. Remember, in their heyday, they can anticipate what you're going to do. And in their heyday, they got, in their heyday, most of what they do work. Even with them stumbling and acting a fool, a lot of the stuff they still do works. A whole lot of it works. More of it works than don't work. It's just that sometimes it'd be periods like this when it's so blatant. Russia is invading poor Ukraine. Well, the United States invaded everybody, invaded Panama, and put the people in jail and killed a lot of them. Shoot, he invaded Iraq twice. He invaded Libya and stole all their gold. He stole all their gold and killed the leader. It's okay. And he supports Saudi Arabia, which kills the people of Yemen, and it's all right. Remember, the way he feels, anything he do is all right. But if you watch the news, everybody ain't swallowing that no more. Whether it's Asia and meeting with those people, they say, "Oh no, we ain't going for that," and we're not condemning Russia either. Or with India, well, you're not condemning it. No, or all the lies we're taking, everything is going our way in a war. And then all of a sudden the people got to surrender the other day, one of their main cities in Ukraine. You would think they would stop lying. They don't stop lying. They just add stuff on that. That's what happened. They keep right on lying. That's the thing we count on. The boss man is going to keep on lying. He's not going to repent. Why? Because the shaitan asked Allah, after he asked Allah, give me parole, give me probation. Give me a free hand with this human being and I'll show you he ain't worth a dime. He ain't going to be worth it. And Allah said, okay, you got a little probation. He said, fine, now I'm going to attack the Negro from front, from behind, on top, everywhere. And you're going to find most of them ungrateful. And shaitan is semi-right. Semi-right. Because see, the rest of the Quran, that shaitan is going to be wrapped up and thrown in his own heat. That's the guarantee. That is going to happen as true as all of this rest. Haven't I had you covered since day one? Right? This is what Allah is saying. And you have to be savvy enough. When Allah hooking you up, you got to have sense to know you being hooked up. Okay, you would think, well, everybody would know when Allah hooking them up. Well, Allah hooking up everybody, and how many people you think got sense? Everybody getting up. I'm not getting this kind of stuff where, man, man, that was sweet. And they keep right on doing what they was doing. So Now we claiming to put a spell on boss man. Yes, we do. We got boss man acting a fool. We got boss man stuttering. He can't talk no more. We got boss man forgetting where he at. Boy, I'm telling you. And we got every agency of boss man. Boss man, the Zionists. You think, oh, the Zionists are slick. They got everybody's telephone number in the world. They got all this Pegasus, and all of that. Well, they acting a bigger fool now than they was before. And they doing it in front of everybody. There's nobody there wondering why. Can you imagine this guy is standing on the stage, pulling his pants down and showing his butt to everybody and telling them to kiss it? And they think that the people is too dumb to know what they're doing, right? And they're standing on the stage showing their rusty, dusty behind and telling everybody to kiss it. That's what the Zionists are doing right now. Just, it's ridiculous. Okay? And they just keep right on. That's why we know, we don't know. That's why we have a sense and we have a feeling the direction which things are going and that we're on the right road because we're on a certain team. And I had a friend once. We was down in front of one of the big hotels, and it was four of us in the car. One of them was my best friend. The other one was you probably, if you was looking at the movie The Mac, the one Willie Ward, one of them that won the Mac Award for whatever that year was. He was in the car, and his friend Zolly King was in the car, and my partner was in the car. And this was when during a loose period, which all the Negroes that get big go through one of them periods and they never come out. They go through saving money, being very careful, and then it all hits. And they can feel that blood pumping and the money is pumping through their veins. And they start spending and they start partying. We was in one of them big old brohams. So I told my partner, you got another one of them packages? It was another half ounce or quarter ounce of blow. And we was going to snort it. And Willie Ward said to me, if you keep that up, you won't be captain of the ship much longer. I didn't say nothing. I just passed it around. That night I went home, took off all that pretty stuff, put back on my workout clothes, and when I'd go to the nightclub, I'd have a tight black T-shirt on. You know, like I've been running and lifting iron. All the cocaine, we locked all the blow up. The guy saved my life. He saved our organization's life, although he was a competitor, like the Ward brothers is one crew and we're another crew. You know what I mean? But not like we're enemies or mad at each other. But what he said, boy, look at here. That was deep. You keep that up, you won't be captain of the ship. If you keep everybody, we've been in this game for 1,000 years, and that cocaine will run you crazy and broke. And when you look up, it'll all be gone, which it usually is. People have got And I heard exactly what he was saying. I kept right on snorting it like I didn't hear him. But I went home, took off all that slick Negro stuff, got back my iron out of the thing, dusted my iron out, went back in the hills, running them hills, getting in shape. And that was it. And locked up all the blows so that the whole crew, see, if I was getting loose, my whole crew was getting loose. Because all the blow, I didn't lock up the blow. We had a spot, and you just go in the cabinet and get all the blow you wanted. all the workers and everything. Probably they snorted up $1 million worth of blow, but that's okay. We was making enough money. So then I locked up the blow and put out a new thing that we got to hit them hills every day. That means we got to run up in the hills and get in shape. I'm the only one did because I'd come by in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning to go run, which all the boxes, George Foreman, everybody went running in the hills every day in Oakland. That's why I went to the hills. Good for discipline and everything, but my crew, shoot, I'd pull up them big brohams, but you see, they used to have air ride in there, and the air ride would lift the car up because they were so heavy. You probably see the same thing in some of them old Lincolns, that they would fall down in the back because the lifts go out. Well, the Cadillacs used to be like that. Since they're such a big car, you have to have something in them to lift them up and level them off. They call them load levelers. So all the Cadillacs, they had a little pump in there that would pump that, when the engine is running, and it would lift the car up. And when you pulled up and parked, it would hiss a little bit for about an hour or so, like, letting the car down a little bit and letting the pressure out. So I'd come by my partner's house, 6 a.m. in the morning, 6:30, and I'd feel the car would be burning up. They just got home. So they definitely ain't no shape to go up in the hills and run. They wouldn't answer the door. I'm the chief of the organization. They wouldn't answer the door. They'd tell their family, don't answer the door, because they wasn't in no shape. And then you'd listen to the car. The car, not only the engine was hot, but that air ride. See, when you got cars, you know the characteristics. Anyway, but Allah bring you through all of that. Whether it was Los Banos, I'm going to mention something else that's very well known. And, it was about Big Greystone. Greystone was a county jail in Alameda County, Oakland. So the police tried to kill me out there. I had a 10-day sentence on driving. So it's on the county farm. So one day I'm out there. The officer that's on that thing is a friend of mine, and we driving around a big truck and having good fun. And so the Sergeant Sansucci, he comes over with his pistol on, and this is county farm. You're not supposed to have a pistol, or, stuff. So he got a pistol, and he says, I want so-and-so. And he took me over to the secure area. And in the secure area, the police had some white boys. First, standing at the door, they have a thing, where you got to talk to the nurse. I got a little headache. So the white boy come up with a pair of scissors and tried to hit me, and I just moved enough right in the eye, and he missed me. So my partner said, yeah, it's serious stuff going on here. Anyway, long story short, when they let us out for rec, they had the Negroes that they had in there were stooges. Because if Negroes and white boys get into something, the Negroes got to get with you automatically, but not these. So they backed back. That means that they'd arranged that part of the jail. So then my cellie was a big old Negro. We called him Iceman. Anyway, so me and Ice was facing the white boys, and they got knives and everything. But this is in the cleanup area, and they got them mop buckets. Now they got plastic mop wringers, but in the old days they had metal mop wringers. you know. So shoot, me and Iceman got them. We was standing up near the showers. It's a day room with benches and everything. So we got them mop ringers, and it's called a wheel. So we know what to do. This nigga just bams up all of this people in his area. Then he steps over here. Then he steps over here. Then he steps here. Then he steps back. The nigga up there, if it's two, it's called a wheel. So then I would come, whop, and hit these people with these metal things, and they got handles on it. You hitting these white boys with, we didn't have to do it, but that's what we said, we're going to wheel on these crackers. So they had me in there so they would try to assassinate. You know, if you were kind of popular doing stuff that they didn't like, they're going to get rid of you. They talk about this today in California prisons, because I thought people had forgot about it, but my son was in there and he said, yeah, Dad, they said this, that, and other. And he was reminding me about something that happened to me way back when. Anyway, so it was not necessary. But it showed us a point that Allah got you covered. When Allah got you covered, you ain't nothing nobody can do about it. They don't know it. They have no idea. So the captain of the ship, in fact, Willie Ward passed away not about a couple of years ago. He was the last of the Ward brothers. And so, captain of the ship, a competitor was the one that rescued our whole organization. We was bigger than them. And what he told me was true. If you keep doing that, you won't be captain of the ship. In other words, you lose your status. You won't be running your business. You're already loose. You're just loose. You're driving around the biggest, prettiest car in town with the ceiling all back and mink everywhere and diamonds, snorting cocaine. And it's all right. And all the police is looking to put you away. And you think it's all right. It's kind of like emperor with no clothes. Strategic thinking, possibility thinking. It means you have to take advantage of every offensive against you and turn it into a counteroffensive against the system. This is magic stuff. I'm saying this because there's stuff that happened in everybody's life, and it seems to be uncoordinated sometimes. I'm telling you this because I happen to know this stuff happened, is real, and I'm just relating how it related to me and the job that we're doing. And is there a guarantee with the job? It appears that it is a guarantee with this. The guarantee is on evildoers. The guarantee is on Zalimeen. The guarantee is for the Mustadafin, those who are being oppressed, they will be given leadership and direction and guidance, right? All that's real. So when you look at the USA right now and the Zionists last week is a Christian lady. She was a big press lady from Palestine, so she's Christian Palestinian, very popular, very well known, and they just shot her and killed her. They said, we're not even going to have no investigation. We already know we could have killed her, right? They just say, forget it, okay. Now, everybody knows what happened. Not only that, but usually after a government kills somebody, they kind of leave them alone to have a funeral. But this government is at the funeral causing fitna and harassed the people so much they had to set the casket down because it was falling down. Did you see that part? It's unbelievable. Just wait a minute. Are they that dumb? Yes, they are. Because when Allah got it, we didn't just see it, the whole world saw it. And no matter what happens in the world, they got two beings on the same team, the Zionists and the Americans. And everywhere there's an American, if they're having the Latin American meeting right now, the Latin Americans saying, we're not going unless you let Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela or something. We ain't going. So half the people ain't going. And the U.S. is the baddest, supposedly. We run this part of the world. We got the Monroe Doctrine, and we gonna run this show. Everybody say you run it by yourself. Even they stooges in this area not going. Or two or three of them show up in this empty room, you know, where the echoes go all over the room. I'm just trying to tell you, we chose the right road a long time ago. And it was, to us, it was an easy choice because after seeing so many signs, you say, all right, now other people, see, the longer you do something and you know it's right, the easier it gets. The easier it gets till it become habitual. You do the right thing no matter what. It's just a habit. You know, you size everything up and you do the right thing because it's habitual. Nafsan mutmaina is when you do things that are right. Nafsamara is when there's a struggle. And usually the bad side wins. Nafslawama is when there's a struggle with the consciousness and what have you. And sometimes you do what's right, sometimes you do what's wrong. Because that's the human thing. That's why we ask Allah for forgiveness all the time. So the Quran refers to that stage as nafs lawama. That's when you move from the animal stage, amara, to the human stage, nafs lawama. When you make decisions, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Nafs al-mutmaina is when you done got so high, the struggle still exists, but you don't struggle with right and wrong. You just do what's right automatically. That's deep. You just do right automatically. That's a stage in the Quran called Nafs al-Mutmaina. That's when the struggle of right and wrong, when you've got so accustomed to doing right that it's more of an automatic systems check association where you just associate right and wrong and you do what's right. It was one Negro here in the U.S. He was making a lot of CDs not long ago. He was in Australia. If you think of this guy, he's a Negro. He was over in Australia. He got real famous, especially at the height of his fame was 10 or 15 years ago. I would say 10 years ago. Then he stole a lot of money. He was real popular. Used to be a new Imam up in New York. But he got kicked out of that because in 1983, I met him in about 83 when he got kicked out of his community because he had went over to Saudi Arabia in 1983 and they gave him a lot of money. They did that in those days. And he came back and bought a red Cadillac. He got the money for the community. He came back and bought a red Cadillac. Then the community kicked him out, so he was with some friends of ours up in New York. And they was telling us, yeah, that's so-and-so. And anyway, later on, he polished his image up. People forget. And he went over to Australia. Negro gift the gab. And he raised probably $1 zillion. And then the money disappeared. Stuff like that. Why did he go there? He go there because I announced here 15 years ago that I'm going to, it wasn't long ago that they said I couldn't go to the UK. England. England is good for me because I know a lot of people there, and I could raise $1 billion because everybody speaks English in England. Right? So it was 2008 and 2009, they passed the ordinance that I couldn't go there. So I anticipated, so I'd been about the same period, I had been talking about Australia. I don't know if anybody remember Australia and New Zealand. They all speak English too. They got a lot of Muslims there. So it was just a threat, having a good time, you know. So they sent that Negro over there to cheat everybody. And so if here I come as a Negro, just like him, I sound like him. Then, so they preemptive. They try to preempt anything you might do. But we were saying that, just giving them something to do, and they did it. Yeah, they did it because in 1983, this guy stole, well, maybe his first name is Khalid, something, I don't know. In 1983, he went over to Saudi Arabia and come back and bought a red Cadillac. That's terrible. Then he went to Australia, and took all their money because I was kicked out of England. So I said, well, I'll go to Australia and I'll go to South Africa. Well, as soon as I mentioned South Africa, they invited me over there and they sent me on a tour all over South Africa because I knew everybody, but it was to raise funds for them instead of raise funds for ourselves. And how could I turn it down, you know? So that lets you know that the boss man is controlling literally everything in your sight and making them to do making everybody do things. And if you're in, boss man will put you on the upward thing and you'll be invited everywhere. You'll be on the show. You don't have to worry about it. But if boss man takes you off, that means when you go out to this part of Virginia, that part of Virginia, this part of Maryland, that part, you're not on the list. And you're supposed to be in isolation. Only a few good people that kind of know what's going on, they'll support you. But all the officialdom, they done sent them a message. That's common and it's normal. But if you're on your job, you do stuff to find out exactly who is what's what. It's a test for you. It ain't no big deal. You've been doing it all the time. So after 40 years of one crew doing stuff, you got an idea. That thing then got nice and cool. No, it's fine. It was just slow poking at first, just barely. Yeah, boy, look at here. But now that boy's on a roll. I'm going to move toward a close. What I'm talking about is, my Lord, thou hast indeed bestowed on me some power and taught me something of the interpretation of dreams and events. O thou creator of the heavens and earth, thou art my protector in this world and the hereafter. take thou my soul at death as one to thy will, submitting to thy will as a Muslim, and unite me with the righteous. That's who you want to be with. Because see, in this world, the unrighteous, the bums will have all the money and all the power. But our brother asks, I don't want to be with them bums. And I'm grateful for everything, all this stuff missing. We just mentioned a few things. Escape events, it's not escape. You wasn't lucky to escape that. Allah had wrote where you was going to escape that. And you got enough sense to know, yeah, we can pick up on a lot of special events and and patterns of behavior and all of that. You ain't slick, nigga. Who you think hooking you up with all of this? And you're grateful. And then with other people, la tatraba. No reproach this day. That's what Yusuf tell his brothers. Hey man, and it's the same thing we say right now, la tatraba. No reproach. Allah gonna forgive you for whatever you done did, because you done got hooked up in this, right? So Allah gonna forgive you. So Yusuf's brothers, far as we know, was forgiven. That's what it looks like. They was forgiven and overlooked for what they did. The same slow-minded, buffoonish Negroes in 2021 can be overlooked and forgiven by Allah. We don't know what Allah do on those cases, but for us, we can say, La tatraba, Mr. and Mrs. Negro, y'all going about your business. Because I've been hooked up. Whatever y'all get, that's yours. On payday, it's your business. We could care less what you get. But with all of this stuff, we just went over a few things. Well, we was caught dead to right, dead to wrong, and Allah gobbledygooked it up and just, hey man, hooked it up. Okay, so we're thankful and appreciative about all of that stuff. Let me see, that's one of two. I'm doing very well. It says here, I decided to do good. Just like the people right here, they decided to do right. That's the way the hookup comes in. You decide, because mathematically, you would make another decision. If it was mathematics, you say, well, 98% of the people went that way. And you say, I would rather be over here by myself doing right than with them, sitting up ready to go to the eternal penitentiary or to the fire. I ain't going to make no decision to go. I'm going to decide to go to the fire. And no better. Boy, now most people do. That's their problem. I'm not doing it. Historical account. You know, you wouldn't imagine how we've missed so many opportunities. If you see the cars I drive, they only little cars. I won't drive them big cars. I won't drive them no more. I used to call them big cars the electric chair. That's what I used to call mine. It's like an electric chair, nigga. If you get in here, it's like you might as well pull the switch. And I got it so bad that I wouldn't ride, and everything everybody else wanted to ride, I wouldn't ride in them no more. Well, I would ride if it's just going around the block. because the white man took all the love of all of them big fancy cars and fancy clothes. He just drove them out of me to where I don't even like them no more. I mean, my son saw a little picture of that yellow Volkswagen we used to have out there. And he saw it. He said, "Yeah, Dad, that's like that." Because when I came back from overseas, when I left, I drove the biggest cars. When I came back, I drove the smallest, a Volkswagen. Can you imagine in 73 and 70s driving a Volkswagen? So I went over there driving the biggest and proud of it, and come back here, I don't want to have nothing to do with them anymore. And there's no limit to what the Negro would do. If y'all ever go in an old Jet magazine from the mid-70s, no, it was maybe 73 or 74, you'll see Isaac Hayes, the chandelier. Can you imagine? A big, long limousine with a chandelier. Now, nigga can't get around in it. A chandelier in the car. But remember, you got to look at it like, see, I was looking at, if you were to type in Negro farmer, 1938. 38. Negro farmer, 1938. Huh? Does it have a little video there? If you keep moving, it'll have an arrow for a video.
Yeah, it says it's an educational film made by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Huh? The Negro farmer. The Negro farmer, it shows the little shack. But we used to live in those houses. The shacks that you see, that's what we lived in. But we were well-to-do Negroes. But okay, I was born in 1945, but it don't make no difference. All of that stuff exactly like 1938. That's exactly, everybody had outhouses, everybody wore them overalls, everybody was barefooted. Everybody got baptized in the water, not in the church. They took care all of that. So you would think it was like 100 years ago. It wasn't that long ago, but it's getting close now. What I mean to say is, imagine those people born like that, and they didn't sleep on beds. They'll tell you they slept on pallets.
I'm watching it now.
Yeah, they slept on pallets, okay. A pallet, on the ground. So people wonder, how can he sleep on a pallet? Well, that's where I want to sleep because that's where I was raised, sleeping on a pallet. And it's good for your back and good for your body. It's good and healthy. I ain't sleeping on no more. I didn't see a bed till we got out in California, got beds and all that. But I'm telling you, electric lights. So I remember when I was 4, I was in this cotton wagon. The cotton wagon had a big seat way up top. Like a stagecoach has a big seat way up there, and then the horse thing is down there. Well, I fell off that and I bust my head. I hit on the tongue of the wagon. They call it the tongue. The tongue pull, you hitch the horses and the mules to the tongue of the wagon. That's how you pull it. And I remember like it was yesterday, I fell out of the top of that wagon when I was 4, and I could remember that hot blood just gushing out of my head. Now, I didn't go to the doctor or nothing because you didn't. What did you go to the doctor for? Anyway, you couldn't find one if you did. Anyway, so I remember that very well because it was just normal. It was just normal. And there was no OSHA, like the standards, health standards, and safety standards. Everybody in the country lost a finger, a foot. The axe cut off this. You know what I mean? That's the way people look like. Everybody was not lame, but it was an accident because you didn't go through a program of safety. Like, okay, when you cut wood, don't do it next to nobody because if it hits off that and it'll cut him in half. So you don't do that. You just be chopping wood. And if it misses, it'll just, and you cut through your boots. You don't have steel coat boots on, so you'll cut your foot in half. That's the way it was. It was no OSHA standards like health and safety, safety classes. So you fell out of wagons, you got run over by stuff, and you burned down the barn, like my brother burned down the barn. The barn is where most of your money is tied up in the barn, not in the house. He burned it down when just burned it down. It's okay. Everybody's barn burned down. The point is that when we get to where we are today, we know there's something going on to bring you through all of that stuff. Limousines, and so it was a big deal when we thought we was in heaven. Why would Isaac Hayes buy a limousine and put a chandelier in it? Was he stupid? Semi, but what else was it to do? Everybody else got limousines too, so why not put a chandelier? You can't get in the car hardly, and it shake. If it go over something, it'll knock you in the head, right? But I mean, that's how extravagant, like, hey man, during the late 60s and the early 70s, even going into the 80s, Negroes was just getting money, real money. And hey, they went crazy. And I was one of the fortunate, I was one of the first to get big money and then get through it. Okay. So, Akula Kali Hada wa astaghfirullah li walakum. I would like to mention a few things before we remember. This weekend we're gonna be over at whatever it is. Now I was thinking, I done already cooked the chicken. You can leave it on for a few minutes just so it'll get on this too. So we done already cooked several pans of chicken. We're going to have to clean the bottom of that oven out because it smokes when you turn it on now. It needs, the stuff overflows and it, we put too much. Yeah, anyway. So we got the chicken already cooked. So we got the rice down there. All we got to do, we're going to have, I don't know if anybody remember, we used to have mixed vegetables and rice. Kind of a biryani like, with that Indo-Pakistani flavor. So we're going to cook some of that because they'll be mostly Pakistanis, Indo-Pakistanis, and if they taste a little something that they're familiar with, it helps. So we're going to have, the rice will be like that. Biryani, that means mixed vegetables with that flavor and rice. So we'll have several pans of that. All we have to do is go get some mixed vegetables. We got everything else here. So that'll be that. We'll have mac and cheese. We'll have mac and cheese. And we might as well have You know where we used to have those the string beans with potatoes and all of that? That's everybody kind of likes that. So we'll fix some of them. We'll fix a few big pans of those. Okay, so it'll be beans. And da 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 da. Maybe corn or something, but we don't need it. We're going to have all that other stuff. Salad. So that'll fix it. That'll be that broiled chicken. We got plenty of that. Rice biryani, or rice, whatever we want to call it. We'll have that. Mac and cheese. The vegetables, beans, mixed, yeah, beans and potatoes and da 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 da, and onions with that, and a salad. That'll take care of everything. And we'll just use all that. And they say that Saturday, it won't be Friday, right? Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'm thinking we go Saturday with that. Then we skip a day and just be hanging out and everything. And then we'll go back Sunday morning. Monday morning. Monday morning, we'll do waffles. We'll do French toast. Because somebody going to bring some of that stuff. Waffles, French toast, sausages. Yeah, sausages, and believe it or not, we got a little bit of what's the name left. That kebab is in the freezer. And maybe y'all might want it yourself, but I mean, it's okay to share with the. You might as well say. No, it's just one of them little pans, but it's. No, okay, look, we do what we want to do. I mean, nobody can blame us and say, you're not treating us right. Although somebody said that in Oakland. I say, you ain't being treated right. I said, okay. The same way we treat them there, the same way we treat. Anyway, it's just okay. So, Sunday, we could have Negro eggs, sausages, and waffles and French toast. Finish, kalas. That'll do it. If that don't do it, they just have to go somewhere else. Yeah, that'll be a fine way. So we'll hit one day. That'll be Saturday, right? We'll miss Sunday, but Sunday we could go over there and just be friendly and laugh and talk with everybody. Maybe pass out flyers and stuff. Sunday would be a social day. And then we'll be back Monday morning. Because does it seem like the program will end at midday on Monday or late?
I'm thinking that's how, people are usually packing up on Monday, getting ready to leave, so that's how I'm thinking. So should we be there earlier?
We would be there early. Yeah, we'd be there early. We'd get out Monday, yeah, because Monday is a holiday. Yeah, we would get things kind of heated up and ready to go early, like after Fajr time. And we'd get over there around, 8 or 9 o'clock, something like that.
This is a little off topic, but you had mentioned your Volkswagen,
Mm-hmm.
and it brought to mind, you mentioned Isaac Hayes, in 67 or 60 something, they have Will Chamberlain, trying to get into they had a commercial with Will Chamberlain,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get into a Volkswagen Beetle.
Right.
Remember that?
Vaguely. Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine? He was
7-1.
7'1". Yeah. Well, to me, it was simple, and that's what I wanted to go in for, simplicity. And guess what? Simplicity is better than complicated, dumb stuff. The simpler life is, the better. Okay, I would like to close. There's one thing that we're going to do either tomorrow around noon or I mentioned the dentist, I was going to get yeah, now the dentist is the same kind of, they do the same thing like the car people. The government done told them, gave them a free run, do what you want. So they was getting into doing what they want. So in Ramadan, I bit into a little, it said that all the seeds was out of it, the little fruit that we eat, dates, and it had one in it, and it broke a tooth. It's still broke right now. So I waited till after Ramadan, and then I went by there last couple of weeks ago. They said, well, we got to get approval, so they called the people. In the meantime, they said you need 2 teeth pulled. So I was going to get 1 because I know I didn't need 2. But they done did some kind of way to where it must be almost welded together up here. So I got the medication so that if you have an abscess, it takes it down, And they was ready last week. When I went in there, I said, okay, I only want 1 tooth pulled. I only want this one that's broke right here. The one I can move with my finger. Well, we might have to, so they put it off and said, we got to call back and get a clarification. So you don't need no clarification if you got a thing to pull 2 teeth. And I'm telling you to pull 1, so you got the clearance. So they act funny. And everybody in the office, so the next day I took some of my paperwork by and I showed it to the lady in the office, and I had told her to look up my name. It's a new young lady that don't. So when I went back, she said, yeah, I looked at all of that. I looked your name up. That's okay, you got the story then. So now the people that work in there, they look like the Spanish-speaking lady. Everybody got that, we're sorry this is going on, but now these people are swindlers. They're a crooked crew. If you get a thing where you got a free ride on dental, they'll pull all your teeth out and do whatever they want. It's just like taking your car to get fixed. So this Monday, I'm gonna go to the dentist around there, and then I'm gonna go to the car place. We'll take, because we let them rest long enough, and we'll harass them with a nice lecture, talk. So yeah, we'll do that tomorrow, inshallah. Is 12 o'clock all right?
It's hard. I can't do that time.
What time can you do?
Like later in the afternoon, maybe about 3 p.m.
Oh, perfect, no problem. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. We'll do that. Yeah, 3 p.m. So, we'll have a good time with them. And both of them, the people will be coming, picking up their cars, and they'll hear it. And we'll do it a few times. Because when you and I went by there, we gave the guy a free ride. We said, okay, just, and he ain't ain't followed it up, so we'll follow it up ourselves. So, yeah, we'll go by there Monday, tomorrow afternoon, and see what they do, and we'll harass them. Then we'll go back from time to time and re-harass them. Yeah. Yep. Because remember, okay,